Spiritually gifted people aren't just sensitive, they're tuned to the hidden pulse of existence itself. They feel what others dismiss, see what others deny, and carry emotions that don't belong to them. It's not empathy, it's perception that has outgrown the ordinary. Carl Jung once wrote that the unconscious doesn't whisper to everyone, only to those who have the courage to listen. And those who do often discover that what they call a gift can feel like a haunting. Because to see truth in a world addicted to illusion is not just rare, it's dangerous. You sense things before they happen. You dream symbols that later walk into your waking life. You meet people and immediately feel the weight they hide beneath their smiles. You don't know how you know, but you know. That awareness can be light, guiding, clarifying, healing, but it can also burn, because every insight tears away a layer of illusion, and every layer you strip off reveals what most people spend their whole lives avoiding. This is why so many spiritually gifted souls walk between two worlds, half healer, half exile. Jung called this the burden of expanded consciousness, a frequency so refined that it can both elevate the human spirit and fracture it. He warned that without grounding, this kind of sensitivity can consume you, leaving you drained, misunderstood, even haunted by truths no one else dares to name. But he also believed that if you learn to hold it, not fear it, this same sensitivity becomes your compass. It leads you toward purpose, alignment, and awakening. So in this video, we'll explore 6 things only spiritually gifted people experience. 6 signs that reveal both the blessing and the danger of seeing the world as it truly is. Because what you carry inside you isn't weakness. It's ancient intelligence trying to remember itself through you. Experience 1. Your body knows before your mind, before thought, before reason, before words. The body already knows. It reacts in whispers, a chill that cuts through your spine when something unseen walks into the room, a sudden heaviness in your chest before bad news arrives, a knot in your stomach that tightens every time someone lies, even when their smile doesn't break. For most people, these sensations are random, dismissed as nerves or coincidence. But for the spiritually gifted, they are messages, encoded signals from a deeper intelligence. Your body isn't betraying you. It's translating what your conscious mind can't yet grasp. Carl Jung believed that the body is not separate from the psyche. He wrote that the soul dwells partly in the body and partly beyond it. That means what you feel physically is often the language of the unconscious, a living conversation between what's visible and what's hidden. The body becomes the bridge, a sacred translator. It reacts before logic because energy moves faster than thought. Modern neuroscience is just beginning to catch up. Studies show that the heart and the gut send more signals to the brain than the brain sends back, meaning your intuition isn't fantasy, it's physiology. Your nervous system registers shifts in emotion, vibration, and even environmental change milliseconds before your mind builds a story around it. You're not overreacting, you're simply attuned to the invisible architecture of reality. Spiritually gifted people aren't just sensitive, they're tuned to the hidden pulse of existence itself. They feel what others dismiss, see what others deny, and carry emotions that don't belong to them. It's not empathy, it's perception that has outgrown the ordinary. Carl Jung once wrote that the unconscious doesn't whisper to everyone, only to those who have the courage to listen. And those who do often discover that what they call a gift can feel like a haunting. Because to see truth in a world addicted to illusion is not just rare, it's dangerous. You sense things before they happen. You dream symbols that later walk into your waking life. You meet people and immediately feel the weight they hide beneath their smiles. You don't know how you know, but you know. That awareness can be light, guiding, clarifying, healing, but it can also burn, because every insight tears away a layer of illusion, and every layer you strip off reveals what most people spend their whole lives avoiding. This is why so many spiritually gifted souls walk between two worlds, half healer, half exile. Jung called this the burden of expanded consciousness, a frequency so refined that it can both elevate the human spirit and fracture it. He warned that without grounding, this kind of sensitivity can consume you, leaving you drained, misunderstood, even haunted by truths no one else dares to name. But he also believed that if you learn to hold it, not fear it, this same sensitivity becomes your compass. It leads you toward purpose, alignment, and awakening. So in this video, we'll explore 6 things only spiritually gifted people experience. 6 signs that reveal both the blessing and the danger of seeing the world as it truly is. Because what you carry inside you isn't weakness. It's ancient intelligence trying to remember itself through you. Experience 1. Your body knows before your mind, before thought, before reason, before words. The body already knows. It reacts in whispers, a chill that cuts through your spine when something unseen walks into the room, a sudden heaviness in your chest before bad news arrives, a knot in your stomach that tightens every time someone lies, even when their smile doesn't break. For most people, these sensations are random, dismissed as nerves or coincidence. But for the spiritually gifted, they are messages, encoded signals from a deeper intelligence. Your body isn't betraying you. It's translating what your conscious mind can't yet grasp. Carl Jung believed that the body is not separate from the psyche. He wrote that the soul dwells partly in the body and partly beyond it. That means what you feel physically is often the language of the unconscious, a living conversation between what's visible and what's hidden. The body becomes the bridge, a sacred translator. It reacts before logic because energy moves faster than thought. Modern neuroscience is just beginning to catch up. Studies show that the heart and the gut send more signals to the brain than the brain sends back, meaning your intuition isn't fantasy, it's physiology. Your nervous system registers shifts in emotion, vibration, and even environmental change milliseconds before your mind builds a story around it. You're not overreacting. You're simply attuned to the invisible architecture of reality. There's a quiet danger in this kind of dreaming, because when your inner world is that porous, sleep stops being rest. Your psyche works overtime, decoding collective pain, ancestral memory, and symbols from beyond your own story. You wake up exhausted, overwhelmed, carrying meanings that don't belong to this life alone. Jung warned that the unconscious, when unintegrated, behaves like a wild god. It will speak whether you're ready or not, and if you refuse to listen, it shouts louder through nightmares, insomnia, or uncanny repetitions. But within that danger lies the map, because your dreams are not random, they are personalized mythology. Each symbol is a doorway, each emotion a guide. The black bird, the broken mirror, the recurring flood, they're not omens of doom. They're codes from the deeper self. The key is not to fear them, but to translate them. Keep a journal beside your bed, right before you move. Don't analyze too fast, just record. Over time, patterns appear, and you begin to see that your dreams are not about predicting the future. They're about preparing you for it. When you start treating dreams not as noise, but as sacred dialogue, something extraordinary happens. You stop running from the night. You meet it. You listen. And slowly, the images that once terrified you become teachers. Because the truth is, your dreams don't want to scare you. They want to wake you. They're the voice of your deepest intelligence, reminding you of what the daylight makes you forget. So when the next dream refuses to fade, don't dismiss it. It came for a reason. It came for you. Experience 3. When silence exposes you. Some people speak to be heard. You enter a room, and silence speaks for you. You don't need to say a word for the atmosphere to shift. Conversations falter, Jokes die halfway through. People glance away as if your eyes are mirrors they're not ready to face. You've seen it happen, the way tension thickens the moment you arrive. Someone crosses their arms, another changes the subject. You feel the static, the sudden unease, and you wonder, did I do something wrong? But no, you didn't. Your very presence tells the truth that others spend their lives trying to hide. Carl Jung called this phenomenon therapeutic presence, the silent field that reveals what words conceal. He wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. And when your energy is coherent, when your inner world aligns with what you radiate, it becomes catalytic. It doesn't just connect, it exposes. Spiritually gifted people often carry this field without knowing it. It's not charisma, and it's not power in the usual sense. It's alignment, authenticity so unfiltered that it vibrates like truth. Those who still wear masks feel it as danger. Their bodies tighten because something in you unmasks them without permission. You hold up a mirror they didn't agree to see. The danger here is subtle, but real. When your silence holds truth, it threatens illusions, and the world defends its illusions fiercely. You may find yourself rejected without reason, accused of arrogance, labeled too intense, too serious, too negative. What they're really saying is, you make me see myself. And most people would rather look away. Jung wrote that one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. When you walk into a room, that darkness begins to surface, not because you bring it, but because your energy calls for coherence. You remind people of their unspoken truths, their unhealed parts. It's sacred work, but it comes with a cost, because when you are the mirror, you rarely get to rest. Many spiritually gifted souls withdraw because of this. They learn that silence is safer than exposure, solitude easier than misunderstanding, but prolonged silence becomes exile. The gift that once healed begins to suffocate. Jung called this the wound of the witness, to see clearly, yet feel unseen. And yet, within this paradox lies your initiation. The moment you stop dimming yourself to protect others' comfort, your silence transforms. It stops being heavy and starts becoming holy. It no longer exposes, it reveals. It no longer isolates, it awakens. So when your presence stirs discomfort, don't shrink. You're not causing conflict, you're summoning honesty. Those who are ready will stay, those who aren't will leave. That's not rejection, it's resonance sorting itself out. In a noisy world obsessed with performance, your silence is medicine. It disrupts the false and invites the real. And yes, that makes you dangerous, because truth always is, but it's also divine. And when you learn to stand in that silence, calm, grounded, open, you stop being just a mirror. You become the light behind it. Experience 4. When you feel emotions that aren't yours. It starts subtly. A heaviness creeps in out of nowhere. Your morning felt light. Your thoughts were clear. Then suddenly, sadness floods your chest. You walk past someone on the street and your mood shifts like weather. A few minutes later, you're irritated, anxious, heart pounding, and you don't know why. That's when it happens again, the invisible download. You're not just sensing the world, you're absorbing it. Other people's emotions land in your body as if they were your own. And because you feel them so vividly, you start to believe they are yours. You carry their sorrow, their fear, their frustration, until you're drowning in emotions that don't even belong to you. Carl Jung called this emotional transference, the merging of psychic fields, where one person unconsciously projects their inner world onto another. Most people never notice when it happens, but spiritually gifted souls, whose boundaries are thinner and nervous systems more open, absorb that projection like sponges. You don't just notice pain, you inhale it. Modern psychology calls it high emotional empathy, the ability to register micro-expressions, voice tone, muscle tension, and energetic shifts faster than conscious thought. Your body becomes an antenna, constantly scanning the environment for emotional data. You detect the storm long before thunder hits, but the cost of such awareness is overwhelming. Jung warned that The greater the light, the darker the shadow. And here, the shadow is entanglement. When you carry too much of others' emotions, your own signal fades. You start confusing compassion with responsibility. You think it's your job to heal everyone, to fix what hurts, to absorb the world's chaos in order to calm it. But that's not empathy. That's self-erasure. The danger lies in identification. The moment you stop recognizing what belongs to you and what doesn't, your inner compass loses direction. Your emotions become a collage of everyone else's. You wake up exhausted, drained, uncertain of what you even feel anymore. This is what Jung described as inflation, when the boundaries between the individual and the collective dissolve. It's not madness. It's overexposure. Your soul is wide open, but without filters. Yet within this chaos, there is a sacred potential. Because the same sensitivity that drowns you can also guide you, if you learn discernment. Discernment is the spiritual muscle that separates compassion from absorption. It's the moment you pause and ask, is this emotion mine, or did I pick it up from the room? Is this sadness a message or residue? You don't have to harden to protect yourself. You only need to recognize what isn't yours and return it to its source. Through grounding, breath, nature, and stillness, you teach your system to release emotional debris without closing your heart. Because your sensitivity is not the problem. Unconscious empathy is. Once awareness returns, you stop being a sponge and become a mirror. You reflect emotion instead of absorbing it. You witness pain without drowning in it. You heal by clarity, not by sacrifice. So when emotions flood in, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, who does this belong to? Because the moment you do, your energy begins to clear, and you remember that your gift was never meant to make you carry the world. It was meant to teach you how to feel it, understand it, and let it go. Experience 5. When you wake between worlds, the 3 a.m. awakening. It's always the same hour. The world is silent, the air thick with stillness. You wake, not groggy, not startled, but aware. The clock glows 3:17 a.m. No noise, no dream, just that eerie clarity pulsing through your body, as if something unseen just whispered your name. Most people would roll over and call it insomnia, but you know it's something else. It's the pull, that invisible thread that tugs you awake between worlds. The mind still half asleep, the soul wide open. Carl Jung called this state the liminal threshold, the hour when the veil between the conscious and the unconscious thins. The ancient mystics called it the hour of the empty mind. Monks, prophets, and poets across centuries have described this same moment, when logic loosens its grip and the deeper layers of perception rise to the surface. It's not restlessness, it's revelation. In the language of neuroscience, this is known as the hypnagogic state, the space where dream imagery bleeds into waking consciousness. Brainwaves slow, barriers dissolve, intuition surges. During this hour, your inner antenna is at its strongest, tuned to frequencies most people sleep through. You might receive images, insights, even messages, not in words, but in knowing. A truth lands in your chest, not your head. And when morning comes, it's still there, like a secret too fragile to explain. But this awakening comes with a cost, because what opens you to the sacred also exposes you to the collective. If you wake heavy, anxious, trembling for no reason, it might not be nothing. You could be feeling the emotional weather of the world itself. Jung warned that the soul of the sensitive person is porous. It senses what the collective unconscious cannot yet articulate. To wake at this hour is to stand in that current unprotected. You touch the river of humanity's dreams, fears, and grief. That's why many who experience this wake with tears, pressure in the chest, or a sudden knowing that something, somewhere, has shifted. The danger isn't in the awakening itself, but in not knowing how to hold it. Without grounding, these moments can spiral into anxiety or obsession. You start searching for meaning in everything, trying to decode every symbol, until the sacred becomes unbearable. Jung called this psychic overload, when revelation outruns integration. But if you learn to meet that hour consciously, it transforms. Instead of resisting it, breathe. Stay still. Ask, what am I being shown? Let images, emotions, or words rise and pass like clouds. Write them down, not to analyze, but to anchor, because what surfaces at 3 a.m. isn't random. It's communication from the deepest strata of your being. You're not being haunted, you're being invited. Every 3 a.m. awakening is a conversation between your finite mind and your infinite self. It's the soul checking if you're listening. And once you learn to listen without fear, these nights stop feeling lonely. They become luminous. You begin to sense that you're not waking from sleep. You're waking into awareness, into the part of you that never sleeps, that's been waiting for you to remember. So the next time you wake before dawn, don't rush to escape the silence. Breathe into it. You're standing at the threshold where spirit and matter meet, and in that fragile, glowing hour, the world may still be asleep, but something ancient in you is wide awake. Experience 6. The lifelong sense that you're here for something greater. Since childhood, you've felt it, that quiet pull under the noise of ordinary life. You couldn't name it, but it was there, a restlessness that no achievement could quiet, a knowing that you came here for something more. You watched others chase success, comfort, belonging, and you tried to follow. You studied, worked, built, performed, and still, somewhere deep inside, a voice whispered, "This isn't it." The routines of the world felt like a costume that never fit quite right. You smiled through conversations that felt too shallow, and every time you pretended to care about what didn't matter, something sacred inside you ached. Carl Jung called this moment the call of the self, the stage in individuation when the ego begins to lose its grip and the deeper psyche starts to awaken. He wrote that this feeling of divine dissatisfaction is not depression, but the soul's rebellion against smallness. It's the life within you refusing to be reduced to survival. Spiritually gifted people feel this more intensely than anyone else, because their awareness is larger than their current life can contain. They are born remembering, not in detail, but in vibration, that they are meant to create, to heal, to guide, to awaken something forgotten. They may not know how or when, but the sense of purpose haunts them like a forgotten promise. And yet, this calling is not romantic. It's disruptive. The moment you try to ignore it, life starts breaking down. Jobs collapse, relationships fall apart, motivation evaporates, not as punishment, but as initiation. Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When the self calls, anything not aligned begins to fall away. That falling can look like loss, but it's really alignment reshaping your path. Still, there's danger here, the danger of mistaking urgency for clarity. When the calling awakens, you might rush to find answers, to define purpose, to fix the ache. But this path is not about speed. It's about surrender, because what you seek is not out there waiting. It's inside you, unfolding. The gifted often confuse the pull toward meaning with pressure to save the world. They feel guilty for not doing enough, not being enough. But the truth is, your purpose isn't a project, it's a frequency. You fulfill it by embodying it in how you see, how you love, how you live. The rest takes care of itself. There will be nights when the calling feels unbearable, when you wish you could just be normal, to stop feeling so much, so deeply, so far ahead. But remember this, that ache isn't a curse, it's your compass. It's pointing you back to the path you promised yourself before you were born. And when you finally stop running from it, something miraculous happens. The anxiety softens, the confusion clears, life starts rearranging itself around your truth. Opportunities arrive that match your energy. People appear who speak the same invisible language. Synchronicities multiply, not as magic, but as alignment. You realize you were never lost, you were being refined. Every breakdown, every disappointment, every silence was sculpting you into someone who could hold this much light without breaking. Because the greater the gift, the greater the preparation. And that longing you've carried your whole life, it was never emptiness. It was memory of who you are and of what you came here to become. Maybe you saw yourself in one or two of these things, maybe in all six. Either way, it's not coincidence, it's recognition, because the moment you begin to understand these signs, you realize your sensitivity was never a flaw, it was a compass, guiding you back to your truth. Carl Jung said, "Those most connected to the invisible often carry the deepest wounds of the visible." And that's why the path of awakening is not about becoming special, it's about becoming whole. Wholeness means walking through the confusion, the exhaustion, the chaos, and choosing again and again to stay conscious. Once you see what you carry, you stop trying to fit into a world asleep to its own depth. You stop absorbing everything. You start choosing what to let in, what to release, what to grow. Because awareness demands choice, and that choice is what turns sensitivity into strength. You don't need to change who you are. You only need to listen differently. Your sensitivity is the soul's language, a vibration that never lies. It tells you where truth lives and where illusion hides. And when you begin to follow that inner frequency, your life starts to align, not by chance, but by design. You don't need grand transformations. Sometimes all it takes is one conscious breath, one pause before saying yes, one moment of silence before reacting. That's how awakening happens. Not all at once, but in small, intentional steps toward coherence. So now, tell me, which of these spoke to you most deeply? Share it in the comments, not just for me, but for someone still trying to make sense of their own awakening. Sometimes, your truth becomes the permission someone else needed to heal. And if this message touched you, write below, "My sensitivity is my path." This isn't just a comment, it's a declaration, a public reminder, for you and for others walking this same invisible road, that sensitivity was never your weakness. It was always your way home. And if this video resonated with you, consider hitting the thank you button. Every gesture, no matter how small, helps keep this message alive, helps it reach others who need to remember what you just remembered. Because in the end, sensitivity is just the beginning. Direction, that's up to you.